Hey, welcome guys back to the channel. Maverick here with episode 6 of Wave Listen to Me. So, we are just coming off of an absolutely fantastic episode 5. Like, seriously, I cannot praise that episode enough. The voice actor, the seiyuu for Minare, Sugiyama Riho, she absolutely killed it. That was honestly one of the most interesting and entertaining episodes of anime that I've seen in recent years. And I say that with a full straight face, alright? I mean, I already talked about it at length in last episode, so I don't want to continue to reiterate things. I mean, but it's just so good. And this episode is gonna have some big shoes to fill, right? Obviously, I don't think it's going to be on the same level of entertainment, because that is, a very, very rare situation. But before we get into this episode, however, there's something that I would like to share with you guys. So one of the viewers of this series, Miki, he brought something to my attention that, well, basically a video uploaded to a YouTube channel, which I will link down in the description below. That is seriously awesome. It's basically Minare's segment from last episode, uploaded to YouTube. But get this, that was actually uploaded back in 2019. I believe it was in September or July, kind of forgot, but basically it was in last year as part of a promotion for this particular anime, right? And the thing is that, the particular segment with Minare, last episode, that was actually aired on air live in a radio station back at that time. So it was aired on Air G, which is a radio station stationed in Sapporo. So basically the same sort of concept as it is within the anime. So a more local radio station, but still covering the entirety of Hokkaido, probably. Yeah, I think this radio station actually covers the entirety of Hokkaido. And funny enough, it's also the radio station that's currently airing the coupling radio program with this particular anime. So I mentioned before that it's pretty usual. It's a normal practice for an anime to have a coupling radio show, and considering that this is an anime specifically talking about radio shows, it makes even more sense to have one. And the radio show is indeed just called directly Wave Listen to Me as well, with the radio personality, the radio host, being the seiyuu of Minare, Sugiyama Riho. And so that is being aired on this particular station as well. So it's just, I don't know, I just really love it when we can get these sort of real life linkages with things that happen in the anime and vice versa. And for that to be, I could totally see this as a broadcasting tool, like maybe in the beginning of the season, something like that. But to literally have it all the way in like half a year ago, that is some dedication, let's just say. But anyways, that's just some fun trivia for you guys. In this episode, well, actually from last episode, Minari said that she is going to formally pursue being a radio host, radio personality full-time, right? So let's see how she does in this one. Alright, let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play. Oh, 4 times from mine? Oh, okay. It's only weekly. Huh, I thought it was actually daily. Dang. Alright. Although I guess that also kind of makes sense in a way, because having to think of content to talk about for literally every single day, yeah, that's kind of harsh. I don't think that's really possible. The typical shows that are daily are ones that play music, that talk about news, that kind of thing. For Minare's radio show, where she actually does have a sort of setting for each episode, it's too hard to do a daily one. Unless it was literally like 5 or 10 minutes per day, then maybe. 3:30. Who knows? Maybe by the end of this this season, she's still going to be continuing to have her radio show at 3:30 a.m. It might be kind of like her thing, right? Are you or are you not jealous? Yeah, I was like, I never. Huh? How the heck do you call the wrong number? And what? Her father? Pachinko, eh? So his father likes to drink and play pachinko. Acupuncturist? Wait, she's actually... That's actually pretty cool that her father can actually But no, he's drinking Sapporo beer as well, so he should be in Hokkaido as well. 40,000 playing pachinko. I seriously don't understand what the appeal of pachinko is. But I guess it's similar to people who like to play slots. Huh? Wait, what? Oh, his sister. Huh. Yep. Oh. Hmm. Really? Holy shit. Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah. More seriously, I think you need to do something about this situation. Is he actually a syscon or something? No. Right. What? Ma- Huh. She really... That's that comedian, right? Yeah, she really does have a similar feel to Minare. Hmm? Oh. Damn. You're really utilizing Nakahara, aren't you? Sky Sensor 5900. Yeah, I was almost like, why is, she should be working. A neighbor? Oh wait, the woman? Yeah, you should be giving him. senpai? Fish. I mean, she doesn't even live here anymore. Have you thought up your ideas yet, dude? Girl? Shinji Oki. Wait, isn't that the neighbor? Shut. This dude. Oh. That's an interesting philosophy. Wait, aren't you supposed to ask him about the radio? Yeah. It's her neighbor. Hmm? Hey, Taiwan. Where is she going with this? What the hell? Wish. I agree with you, Mizuho. Alright, so what exactly is this dude? What? What? Seriously? Nakahara? What the hell is this anime? Where are we going with this story? Alright. I'll see you guys after this. Alrighty. Things are getting crazier and crazier by the minute. I thought this was just going to be a simple radio show, but, I mean, an anime about a radio show. I didn't really expect us to be solving mysteries at the same time as well. But you gotta hand it to them. This is definitely very interesting, right? I think one of the biggest compliments you can give to an anime is that it is entertaining and you don't want to stop watching it. And for me, that is the only criteria on whether an anime is good or not. And in this case, I am definitely being entertained. I'm not really sure how that situation is going to end up with. That definitely does seem very eerie, very creepy and whatnot, having blood drip over your home and the smell of rotting meat as well. I got a sneaking suspicion, though, that it's all related somehow with things that we've seen in this episode. So, don't forget that, who is he called again? Shinji, right? The guy literally lives beneath the girl that Minare says moved in the summer and she's never seen before, right? I think, a college girl or something like that. So, it has to be related with someone above him, right? So it has to be that girl's room. So either one, she's dead and it's her rotting corpse in the apartment or something like that. But somehow I don't really think that would be the case. That would be a little bit too obvious and also too creepy. I'm not really sure this anime or this work in particular wants to go that way, right? And not to mention, you'd still be kind of it's still kind of weird how come it only happens at a certain time at night or something like that. Considering that we had this entire little gag and whatnot with salmon and how it smells and all that. I don't know, perhaps it is still actually just a college girl living there or something, and she's trying to make ends meet by taking on some side work as well, butchering meat or heck, filleting fish or something like that at night, and because she's making a mess out of all of it, that is why it's all dripping down and having a very weird smell or something like that, right? That's my guess for now. Of course, I could be totally wrong, but I have a feeling, I have a sneaking suspicion that this anime is, this work is going to try and troll us, basically. So that is my guess for right now. Beyond that, another interesting thing that happened in this episode is, I guess, Tachibana's situation and, what actually is happening between her and Nakahara. So, Nakahara actually is still very devoted to Minare, let's say, for better or worse. And her situation is definitely very creepy as well, like literally having your brother lock you up and not allowing you to have outside contact and all that, like that is seriously messed up. She should be running to the police immediately. No, I guess perhaps she doesn't really want to do something to her to someone who is literally her brother, right? But definitely that is something to also take into consideration for the future. I don't think her having this special backstory, or indeed her character being here, is a coincidence, right? I think with the way that the story goes, these things are all going to be related somehow, and it's going to form an integral part of the story in the future, but not necessarily right now. So that's just something to keep an eye out for. The part with the radio, that is also interesting, right? So the radio that was sent by Minare's father to her, a Sony Sky Sensor 5900, I believe it's called. I didn't really know what it was, so I looked it up. Apparently, it's a BCL radio that was made during the BCL boom of Japan in the 70s and 80s, right? So what's BCL, you could say? It's basically a Japanese terminology for the hobby of listening to shortwave radio. And what is shortwave radio, you might ask? Well, it's basically the hobby that, well, not really just a hobby. Shortwave is a form of radio wave. There's shortwave, medium waves, and long waves as well. Shortwave is the one with the longest distance, right? And basically, shortwave shortwave listening, shortwave enthusiasts are basically people who use these specialized radios, which can tune into these shortwaves, and through it you can listen to a lot of different radios that you aren't necessarily supposed to listen to, right? Including, for instance, typically with radio, right? I think most people should still have some sort of experience operating radios. If in your specific area you need to tune into a specific radio station on a specific frequency, right? However, once you go outside a certain area, once you're too far away from the radio station that it's being broadcasted at, you're gonna have to change stations, or you're not going to be able to listen to it anymore, right? Because radio does have a set frequency and a set amount of distance that it can go, and for most commercial radio stations, they don't. Actually, I mean, for most commercial radios basically, they don't generally have the capability to listen to radio from far, far away. These shortwave radios, on the other hand, are able to listen to radio stations literally from internationally, even across the ocean or whatnot. So if you're in Japan, you're actually able to listen to radio stations from the US. If you're in the US, you would be able to listen to radio stations in Europe, and so on and so forth, right? And it's not only for international use as well. You can also tune into some stuff that is, like amateur radio stations, ones that don't really aren't on the general airwaves, you could say, and really just sort of like a hobby radio station, something like that. Or you could even tune into some other radio frequencies, such as military or cargo ships or airlines or things of that kind of nature, right? So it's definitely not something that normal people would be using. Apparently, like I just mentioned, there was a big boom in Japan in the 70s and 80s, where a lot of people were enthusiastic about this sort of thing, and so that is where the radio comes from. Now, that's good and all. What does that have to do with the story, right? So, one thing, I don't know if you guys caught this, but in Mato's sort of flashback with him, and I guess that the person that he was talking to was probably that comedian, and that comedian was probably his crush or something like that, his girlfriend, who later got into an accident and died, something of that nature. She mentioned that she bought him a gift, right? If you look closely, that gift, I think, is literally a Sony SkySensor 5900. So the exact same model, the exact same radio that Minare's father has given to Minare. Is this going to be related somehow, or is this just going to be one happy coincidence, right? I don't know. But there's definitely this kind of relation here, and if the past few episodes of this anime are anything to go by, it's all there for a reason. We could literally be looking at something that's going to have huge implications in the future, and somehow all the different characters are all connected together, which would be quite a feat, and honestly, it is something that I kinda enjoy as well, if it's done correctly, right? You really get the sense that the author took great care into building this world and building all the characters, and then having it all relate together in the future. Or, like I said, it could be all entirely coincidental, and it's not really, it's not that big of a deal, maybe. But I do hope that it turns out to be something quite good and connected in the future. So, I think that's pretty much all for this episode. I guess in the next one we'll just solve the great mystery of the appearing blood and flesh and rotting meat or whatnot. And I am finally caught up to the current episode now. So yeah, just stay tuned for the next one. I'll probably upload it tomorrow, just so that I can kind of stagger it a little bit. And of course, go check out the video that I mentioned at the beginning as well, the sort of promotional video. Well, I guess there's not really that much to listen to, because it's literally the exact same thing that we saw in the last episode, if you want to re-listen to that once again. But I just think it's really awesome that this series is taking so much care to do this sort of thing as a promotion, and I just love it. Hopefully well, you know what? If the story is going to go crazy, then go balls to walls crazy, right? I would prefer if it stayed honed in on the radio aspect of things, because I'm really, really enjoying learning about how to make a radio show and so on and so forth, and watching a radio show literally be brought up into existence and potentially become the next big thing. But still, if they want to go the crazy route or the comedy route, it's definitely been entertaining so far, and I have no doubt that it'll be continuing to be entertaining in the future. So, there we go. That's it for episode 6 of Wave Listen to Me. See you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.